Good morning. My name is Daniel Talbot. I am the CAL FIRE Riverside County Fire Chief. It is my honor to serve the County of Riverside in the state of California. Today, myself and my other partners from county government, the Board of Supervisors, the County Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney, and the Department of Animal Services, and the Inland Empire Fire and Burn Foundation wish to send a very strong message to the public. That message is that fireworks are illegal in Riverside County. With the exception of certain cities, the rest of the county prohibits the use of fireworks. Safe and sane fireworks are not safe, nor are they sane. Illegal fireworks and safe and sane fireworks cause fires, they injure people, they endanger the public. These fires can be small, simple roadside starts, or they can be major conflagrations and house fires, which endanger the lives of the public and the citizens and first responders. Riverside County elected officials have a zero tolerance for fireworks. If you are caught with fireworks, you will be cited. They will be confiscated. This has been and is our practice because they are such a danger to the public. We in government have to act to protect the interests of everyone. The sale and use of safe and sane fireworks, as I had previously mentioned, is permitted in the cities of Indio, Blythe, Desert Hot Springs, Cathedral City, and Coachella. If you purchase these items within those cities, you must utilize them within those cities. If they are transported out of those areas and you are caught using them, you will be cited and they will be confiscated. This is our practice and has been our practice for a number of years. Now, I would like to begin with our first guest speaker. I'd like to introduce Sheriff Stan SNIFF. Please remember at the end of the speakers, there will be a live demonstration by the Sheriff's Hazardous Device Team.
Well, I'm really here not just on behalf of the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and the men and women that serve in tan and green, but really all the allied agencies in the law enforcement community, and certainly working side by side with our brothers and sisters in the fire service. Now, for those of us that have been in law enforcement for a long time, these issues on unauthorized and illegal use of fireworks have been here almost every year, forever and ever. And those of you that covered it know that each year we come back and discuss it. But what I'll underscore, at least from the law enforcement community, is over the last few years, and for many of the community leaders that I end up interacting with, this problem has gotten worse and worse over the last few years. So not only the fire dangers that were alluded to by Chief Talbot, and it's certainly the injuries to life and limb that end up tying up a lot of our EMT and fire service resources, but I want you to also think about all the lost time when we have fewer and fewer law enforcement officers out there throughout all our communities, that more and more of their time. In the last year, 38% of our calls on July 4th have been typically focused on illegal use of fireworks. And one of the things that all of us need to be concerned about is when the law enforcement services for first responders dealing with priority calls to life and limb that are outside the normal fire service arena, when we get flooded with calls, that backs up officers from responding to those high priority calls. And when you get that many, nearly 2 out of 5 of the calls coming in to the few law enforcement officers out there on that day, that really ties up a very precious resource that should be better directed. So like the fire chief indicated, we would also underscore there's plenty of places that are advertised where the community is going to do sanctioned fireworks displays and so on. Fall on that rather than doing kind of self-originated fill-in where you end up tying up those officers and then put people's homes at risk for particularly fire and the other issues. The second area that I want to touch upon that's near and dear in the law enforcement community as far as our concerns, and that's gunshots. In many communities where they don't end up having so-called safe and sane even when they're authorized, they also rely upon firing firearms out in their backyards up into the air. Folks, I think we all understand what goes up in the air also comes down, sometimes with lethal force. That is a violation of law. And frequently those calls come into the law enforcement officers serving our communities as either fireworks or gunshots. because the public kind of confuses the two, but it still ties up a lot of resources, and we still have people that discharge firearms up into the air. And then the third area, those of us that also have our domestic friends and family members, four-legged furry ones, animals, every year we end up having, and I know from personal experience living in the county seat, that every year when fireworks go off, we end up having to sedate our animals. And many of you remember the article that just came out a few weeks ago when a police canine ended up leaping and running off. They finally reunited it with the canine officer, but was because of unlawful fireworks being used in an area frightened the dog. But I want to underscore that throughout all our communities, those dogs get paranoid and often, as I said, have to be sedated medicinally to end up being able to cope with the stresses from fireworks going off. Simply popping off in the street ends up causing a lot of undue stress on our four-legged family members. So all those areas are absolutely critical, and we hope that everybody gets the message out that whether it's gunshots or fireworks or causing stress to our animal friends, that is not a good thing, and it ties up very, very precious resources. I'll be followed by Stephanie Weissman. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Weissman, and I'm a Managing Deputy District Attorney with the Riverside County District Attorney's Office. I'm here today because the District Attorney's Office stands behind these firefighters and law enforcement officers that are going to try so hard to keep our county safe this 4th of July. As you've heard, with very limited exception out in the desert, it is illegal to have fireworks in Riverside County. If you are caught possessing fireworks that you purchased somewhere legally, but now you've brought them somewhere that's not legal, you will be cited and you may be prosecuted. Additionally, if you start a fire using these fireworks, you will be prosecuted for a felony offense and serve real time in prison. Unfortunately, we have had the experience of seeing people injured and killed by fireworks each 4th of July. And we've actually prosecuted people for killing others through the use of illegal fireworks. It is very important that you heed the advice of the sheriff and of Chief Talbot and make sure that we stay safe this 4th of July. As I indicated, we are standing behind the law enforcement officers and firefighters, and we will assist them in any way that we can. Thank you.
The Fire and Burn Foundation provides support services and programs for burn-injured children and adults in Riverside and San Bernardino counties. We work closely with the Edward G. Hirschman Burn Center located in Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. Fireworks, even those labeled safe and sane, can cause a burn injury. Burn-injured children are often injured under adult supervision. We need to remember that fireworks are not safe and they are not sane. Although we are speaking about the dangers of fireworks, I'd like to point out that firework usage usually takes place during family gatherings and parties. During such events, you will often use outdoor grills and fire pits. These activities also pose a high risk for burn injuries. I have seen firsthand the devastation of burn injuries, how permanent scarring has forever altered how someone looks at themselves as well as how they are looked at and treated by those around them. It is not an injury that you can simply put behind you and move on. A severe burn injury starts with long-term hospitalization and continues with years of surgeries and rehabilitation. I have with me today Joshua Keeney. I have asked him to join us to share his burn injury story from what started as a family fun event.
I'm Joshua Keeney, burn survivor. About 4 years ago, I was just camping with my brother and my sister and my dad, and we were just doing normal things as you would around spring break time. And I was just playing with gasoline around the fire where I burned myself, and I was in the hospital for around 6 months where I had to relearn how to walk again and deal with scarring and surgeries after surgeries, where I still have surgeries to this day, 4 years after the fact, and people just don't realize the effect you can have on yourself in a time of just having fun. And the big thing is just to be safe. So, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm John. I work with Riverside County Animal Services. Very powerful message there, Josh. Thank you for that. Wanted to say thank you to Sheriff SNIFF for mentioning the animals earlier in his presentation. Indeed, every 4th of July holiday, it's still an insane situation at our shelters. You would think that it would have actually reduced over the years, but we're still dealing with far too many impounds during that week after the 4th of July holiday. Almost 1,000 pets 2 years ago were impounded in the days following the 4th of July holiday. Last year was a little bit better, but it was still more than 800 animals. That's just insane. But what happens is those fireworks go in the air, sometimes the illegal ones, sometimes at the park shows, and the animals just go nuts. Dogs get disoriented. They've been known to jump through plate glass windows. It's just really crazy for the animals. So, of course, as Sheriff SNIFF mentioned, you can sedate your pets, talk to your local veterinarian, and you could do lots of preventative ways to keep your pets safe. Put them in a back room where the music is on. Maybe it's the windows are a little bit blanketed heavily with maybe comforters to prevent the sounds from outside. But you probably have already seen or heard some of the pops in the air, and you hear the neighborhood dogs go nuts. And it's just, they just don't like fireworks. So some other tips for the 4th of July holiday are on the ASPCA's website. They've got some great information that's not just about fireworks, but some people put citronella candles out. Animals, particularly dogs, might go over there and get a little too close, and if the candle's out, they might actually start to eat the citronella candle. So those are other tips that are on the ASPCA's website. So we welcome the public to go to the ASPCA's website and see all those great tips. One of the great tips we can offer at this time is make sure at this time of year your dog or cat is microchipped. About maybe only 2, maybe 3 out of every 10 pet owners has their animal chipped. That's a very low number. And this is the time of year you want to make sure your pet is chipped and your information is current with that microchip. Don't have an old cell phone number. Last year, we reunited a family with their dog Bo Bear, a very gorgeous German Shepherd. It had been missing for 7 years. And how did it go missing? 4th of July fireworks. But we reunited that pet just recently, and they were in tears. So if you chip your pet, we'll get it back to you.
Before I introduce Sergeant Epps from the Sheriff's Department Hazardous Device Team, I want to encourage the public to go to their local municipal or county public fireworks display. If you are unsure where and when those will transpire, they are listed on the Riverside County Fire Department website. That is the best and safest alternative for you to enjoy the 4th of July holiday weekend and enjoy fireworks. Those particular events are well regulated, inspected, and there are professionally certified individuals putting them on. So again, if you are interested in attending one of these events, go to the Riverside County Fire Department website. Now I'd like to introduce Sergeant Bob Epps from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department Hazardous Device Team.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. I think we're going to take a quick break and move some of the vehicles. When we do that, then I'll be happy to walk everybody through a few demonstrations to kind of give an idea of how a lot of the accidents happen, a lot of the injuries come into play, and then I'll also describe, oddly enough, last night we had a call where a young man's probably going to lose a portion of his hand with some of the fireworks, just like we're demonstrating today. So I'll be happy to explain that and go into more detail as soon as we move the equipment so we can actually see the demonstrations. Several cases where people are holding them, kids are holding them particularly, and we've seen several where adults are holding them. Usually their intent is to throw them or wait to the last minute and toss them to some friends, and typically they aren't very good at accurately guessing the delay of the fuse. So the next demonstration is the male mannequin standing behind me. This replicates a common scenario we've seen on calls where somebody goes off to the side, out of the way of the common party. Maybe they're gonna dispose of a firework or one didn't work right. So somebody says, hey, I'm gonna go over here and just light it and throw it or get rid of it. Or again, sometimes they're on the side trying to surprise everyone. Usually common phrases are watch this or hey, check this out. So that's what we've got kind of replicated over there. And it's a typical aerial shell, what you put in a tube and goes up in the air and explodes high in the air. And this same firework item is what's caused last guy's person to lose his hand and last night's guy to probably lose at least a few fingers. The fourth firework's going to be a display box just slightly past the two mannequins. What this represents is somebody goes to light a firework. In many cases, like was described earlier, it's a family event, somewhat of a party. There may have been some consumption of alcohol. Somebody's coordination may not be at its best. And as they light it and step away, they tend to tip it over or they kick it to the side and then it starts functioning. Nobody wants to go back to it. We've seen that happen in the past. And again, in this environment, in this county, it's going to likely to start a fire that would rage out of control for quite some time.
To all the members of the media, thank you very much for coming out to this event and helping us spread the word about the dangers of fireworks and their illegal status within Riverside County. Additionally, I would like to thank all the partner agencies that were here today. I would like to thank the Board of Supervisors for their support. I'd like to thank Sheriff SNIFF and the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Office, the Department of Animal Services, and the Fire and Burn Foundation. Thank you very much.